The Haunting of the Queen Mary. Emily and her family embark on an exciting adventure to explore the Queen Mary, a retired ocean liner docked in Long Beach, California. As they board the ship, Emily is filled with excitement and curiosity about the ship's history and the stories of hauntings and ghosts that she has heard about. As they start to explore the ship, Emily feels a sense of awe and wonder at the grandeur and elegance of the ship. She marvels at the intricate details of the ship's decor and imagines what it must have been like to sail on the ship during its heyday. As they wander through the ship, Emily's sense of wonder is interrupted by a strange feeling that she's being watched. She dismisses the feeling at first, but as they continue to explore, the feeling persists and grows stronger. Emily begins to feel a sense of unease and fear as she realizes that something strange is happening on the ship. She starts to notice strange noises and shadows that seem to follow her, and wonders if the ghost stories she's heard might be true. Despite her fear, Emily can't help but feel a sense of fascination and intrigue about the ghost stories of the Queen Mary. She decides to keep exploring the ship, hoping to uncover the truth about the supposed hauntings and ghosts that still haunt the ship to this day. As Emily and her family continue to explore the Queen Mary, Emily's fascination with the ship's haunted history grows stronger. She starts to ask the tour guides and staff members about the ghost stories she's heard, hoping to uncover more details about the supposed hauntings. Emily learns that the most famous ghost on the ship is that of a young woman who drowned in the ship's pool. The story goes that the young woman was wearing a beautiful engagement ring that was never found, and that her ghost still roams the ship in search of her lost ring. As Emily hears more about the young woman's tragic story, she starts to feel a sense of empathy and sadness for the ghost. She wonders if the young woman's ghost is still present on the ship, and if there is anything she can do to help her find her lost ring. Despite her growing curiosity about the ghost, Emily's fear and unease about the strange happenings on the ship also continue to grow. She starts to feel like she's being followed by an unseen presence, and wonders if the young woman's ghost is trying to communicate with her. As night falls and Emily and her family settle into their cabins on the ship, Emily can't help but feel a sense of dread and apprehension about what the night might bring. She wonders if she will encounter the ghost of the young woman and what the ghost might want from her. As the night goes on, Emily's fear and unease about the strange happenings on the ship continue to grow. She hears strange noises coming from the hallway outside her cabin and starts to feel like she's being watched. Suddenly, Emily sees a figure in the hallway that she can't quite make out. She tries to call out to the figure, but her voice catches in her throat. As the figure gets closer, Emily realizes that it's the ghost of the young woman she had heard about earlier. Despite her fear, Emily feels a sense of compassion and empathy for the ghost. She remembers the story of the young woman's lost engagement ring and wonders if she can help the ghost find it. Emily follows the ghost as it leads her through the ship, feeling a sense of both fear and excitement at the same time. As they near the ship's pool, Emily feels a sudden chill run down her spine. The ghost stops at the edge of the pool and gestures toward the water. Emily looks down into the pool and sees a glint of metal at the bottom of the pool. She realizes that it's the young woman's lost engagement ring. With a sense of determination, Emily jumps into the pool and retrieves the ring. As she resurfaces, she sees the ghost of the young woman smiling at her and feels a sense of relief and closure. As Emily makes her way back to her cabin, she realizes that her experience with the ghost has changed her perspective on the ship and its haunted history. She feels a sense of connection to the ship and the young woman's tragic story, and wonders what other mysteries the ship might hold. The next day, Emily wakes up feeling both excited and apprehensive about what she experienced the previous night. She wonders if the ghost of the young woman will still be present on the ship, or if her encounter was a one-time occurrence. As Emily and her family continue to explore the ship, Emily starts to notice other strange occurrences that she hadn't noticed before. She hears footsteps echoing through the empty halls, doors opening and closing on their own, and feels sudden gusts of cold air that seem to come out of nowhere. Despite her growing unease, Emily's curiosity about the ship's haunted history continues to grow. She starts to do her own research about the ship's past and uncovers even more stories of ghostly encounters and unexplained phenomena. Emily learns that the ship was used as a troop transport during World War II and that many soldiers lost their lives on board. She also learns about a fire that broke out on the ship in 1934, killing several crew members and leaving a lasting mark on the ship's history. As Emily delves deeper into the ship's history, she starts to feel like the ship itself is alive with the memories of its past. She wonders if the ship's haunted history is somehow connected to the tragedies and losses that have occurred on board, and if the ghosts that still linger on the ship are trying to communicate a message to the living. One night, Emily decides to take a walk around the ship on her own. She feels drawn to the ship's pool, where she had her encounter with the ghost of the young woman. As Emily approaches the pool, she sees a shadowy figure standing by the edge of the water. She recognizes the figure as the ghost of the young woman and feels a mixture of fear and excitement at the prospect of encountering the ghost again. To her surprise, the ghost speaks to her. She tells Emily that she's been watching her and that she's glad to see someone taking an interest in the ship's history. The ghost also tells Emily that there are many other spirits on the ship who are waiting to be heard. Emily feels a sense of wonder and amazement as she listens to the ghost's words. She realizes that the ship's haunted history is much more than just a collection of scary stories, but is a living and breathing part of the ship's identity. The ghost of the young woman tells Emily that there are many secrets and mysteries that still remain undiscovered on the ship. She encourages Emily to keep exploring and to keep listening to the whispers of the past. As Emily walks back to her cabin, she feels a sense of awe and reverence for the ship and its haunted history. She wonders what other secrets and stories the ship holds and feels grateful for the opportunity to be a part of the ship's ongoing legacy. The next day, Emily shares her experiences with her family and friends, but most of them are skeptical and dismissive of her claims. They tell her that she's just imagining things, or that she's been reading too many ghost stories. Feeling frustrated and alone in her experiences, Emily decides to reach out to other people who have had similar encounters on the ship. She searches online forums and social media groups and eventually connects with a group of ghost hunters who are planning a visit to the Queen Mary. Emily is thrilled to meet other people who share her passion for the ship's haunted history. They share their stories and experiences with each other, and Emily feels like she's finally found a community of people who understand and believe in what she's been experiencing. Together, Emily and the ghost hunters embark on a nighttime investigation of the ship. Armed with cameras, EVP recorders, and other ghost hunting equipment, they explore the ship's most haunted areas, including the pool where Emily first encountered the ghost of the young woman. As they investigate, Emily and the ghost hunters capture several EVP recordings and photographs that seem to suggest the presence of spirits on the ship. They also hear strange noises and feel cold spots that can't be easily explained. At the end of the night, Emily feels like she's finally found the validation and support she's been seeking. She realizes that she's not alone in her experiences, and that there are others out there who share her passion for the ship's haunted history. As Emily continues to explore the Queen Mary, she begins to uncover more and more of the ship's secrets and mysteries. She spends hours in the ship's library, poring over old newspapers and photographs, trying to piece together the stories of the people who once lived and worked on the ship. One day, Emily comes across an old photograph of a young woman who looks strikingly similar to the ghost she encountered at the ship's pool. The woman in the photograph is identified as Sarah, a young passenger who drowned in the pool in the 1930s. As Emily looks closer at the photograph, she notices a strange symbol etched onto the edge of the frame. She recognizes the symbol as one that she's seen before, in one of the ship's old logbooks. Emily spends the next few days researching the symbol and discovers that it is a sign of a secret society that once existed on the ship. The society was known for its strange rituals and ceremonies, and was believed to have dabbled in the occult. As Emily delves deeper into the history of the secret society, she begins to feel a growing sense of unease. She wonders if the society's activities had something to do with the ship's haunted history, and if there are still members of the society lurking on the ship today. Emily becomes determined to uncover the truth about the secret society and begins to investigate further. But as she delves deeper, she realizes that the society's secrets are more dangerous and sinister than she ever could have imagined. As Emily continues to investigate the secret society that once existed on the Queen Mary, she starts to experience strange occurrences around the ship. She hears strange whispers and sees unexplainable shadows lurking in the corners of her vision. Despite feeling uneasy, Emily persists in her investigation. She spends long hours in the ship's archives, poring over old documents and records, trying to piece together the history of the secret society. One day, Emily comes across a mysterious old book hidden in the archives. The book is bound in dark leather, with strange symbols etched onto the cover. As she opens the book, Emily feels a cold shiver run down her spine. Inside, the book is filled with strange incantations and rituals, many of which seem to involve the spirits and ghosts that haunt the ship. Emily realizes that the book is a grimoire, a powerful book of magic that was once used by the secret society. As Emily continues to read the book, she starts to feel a sense of unease. She wonders if the book is cursed, or if the society's activities had somehow awakened dark forces on the ship. Despite her growing fear, Emily can't resist the allure of the book's secrets. She becomes obsessed with deciphering its mysteries, even as she starts to feel the malevolent energy of the ship's ghosts closing in around her. As Emily delves deeper into the grimoire, she begins to uncover more sinister aspects of the secret society's history on the Queen Mary. She discovers that the society was involved in dark rituals and experiments, and that their activities had inadvertently unleashed a powerful force of evil on the ship. Emily becomes increasingly fearful as she realizes the true extent of the society's activities. She starts to feel as though she is being watched, and strange occurrences begin to happen more frequently around her. One night, as Emily is walking alone on the deserted decks of the ship, she hears a sound behind her. She turns around to see the ghostly figure of the drowned woman, standing eerily still in the shadows. Emily tries to run, but her feet feel heavy and she can't seem to move. The ghostly figure moves towards her, reaching out with bony fingers, and Emily feels an icy chill run down her spine. Just as she thinks it's all over, the ghostly figure disappears into thin air, leaving Emily standing alone and terrified on the dark deck of the ship. After that night, Emily is never the same. She is haunted by the ghostly figure and the dark secrets she uncovered in the grimoire. She realizes that some secrets are best left buried, and that the Queen Mary is a ship that still holds many dark secrets waiting to be uncovered by those brave enough to seek them out. As the investigation into the disappearance of Emily continues, the members of the secret society on the Queen Mary become increasingly worried. They fear that Emily may have uncovered their dark secrets, and that they will be exposed to the world. Despite their fears, the society members deny any knowledge of Emily's disappearance, and continue with their usual activities on the ship. However, one night, one of the society members receives a chilling message on their phone. It is a photograph of Emily's lifeless body, with the words, "You can't hide from the truth," written in blood on the wall behind her. The society members are shaken by the message, and they begin to realize that their secrets have been uncovered. They know that they must act quickly to cover their tracks and prevent anyone else from discovering the truth about their activities on the Queen Mary. In the following days, the society members work to erase any evidence of their involvement with Emily's disappearance. They destroy the grimoire and any other incriminating items, and they spread false rumors about Emily's mental state and her supposed departure from the ship. Despite their efforts, the ghostly figure of the drowned woman continues to haunt the ship, and the society members know that they can never truly escape the consequences of their actions. As the ghostly sightings on the Queen Mary continue to increase, the ship's crew and passengers become increasingly unnerved. Strange noises, disembodied voices, and sudden drops in temperature are just some of the eerie phenomena that are reported on a daily basis. Despite their fear, some of the braver passengers and crew members attempt to investigate the ghostly occurrences. They explore the ship's abandoned areas and attempt to communicate with the spirits using various paranormal tools. One night, a group of brave passengers decide to hold a seance in the ship's pool, where the ghost of the drowned woman is said to reside. As they begin to communicate with the spirit, they suddenly feel a cold breeze pass through the room, and the lights flicker and dim. Suddenly, the ghostly figure of the drowned woman appears before them, her hair wet and tangled, and her eyes filled with an otherworldly light. The passengers scream and scatter, but the ghostly figure does not seem to harm them. Instead, she appears to be searching for something or someone. As the seance ends and the passengers leave the pool, they notice a strange symbol etched into the pool's tiles. They realize that it is the same symbol that Emily had been researching before her disappearance. The passengers are stunned by the revelation, and they begin to wonder if Emily's research had somehow awakened the vengeful spirit of the drowned woman. They vow to uncover the truth about Emily's disappearance and put an end to the haunting once and for all. As the ghostly sightings and unexplained occurrences continue to plague the Queen Mary, the ship's crew and passengers become increasingly desperate to find a way to put an end to the haunting. They reach out to paranormal investigators and experts, hoping that they can shed some light on the mysterious events. One such expert is a renowned psychic medium who claims to have the ability to communicate with spirits and ghosts. She agrees to come aboard the ship and investigate the haunting, hoping to bring some closure to the restless souls who still wander the decks. As the psychic medium begins her investigation, she immediately senses a strong presence on the ship. She feels the spirit of the drowned woman, and she knows that she must find a way to communicate with her. Using her psychic abilities, the medium makes contact with the ghostly figure of the drowned woman. She learns that the woman is searching for something, and that she is trapped on the ship, unable to leave. The medium works tirelessly to help the ghostly figure find what she is looking for, and eventually, she uncovers a long-lost diary hidden in the ship's library. The diary belonged to Emily, the young woman who disappeared many years ago. As the medium reads through the diary, she discovers that Emily had been conducting research on the ship's paranormal activity, and that she had uncovered a dark secret that had been hidden for decades. The secret was so dangerous that Emily had been forced to flee the ship, but she had left behind her research in the hopes that someone would uncover the truth. With the diary in hand, the psychic medium confronts the vengeful spirit of the drowned woman, revealing the dark secret that Emily had uncovered. The truth is shocking, and it finally puts the restless spirits of the Queen Mary to rest. After the haunting on the Queen Mary is finally put to rest, the ship becomes a popular destination for tourists and thrill seekers. Many people come to see the ship and learn about its dark past, hoping to catch a glimpse of the ghostly apparitions that once roamed its decks. Among the tourists who visit the ship is a young woman named Sarah. She is a student of paranormal studies, and she has been fascinated by the Queen Mary ever since she learned of its haunted history. Sarah is determined to uncover the truth about the ship's past and the spirits that once haunted it. As Sarah explores the ship, she begins to experience strange occurrences herself. She hears whispers and footsteps in empty corridors, and she feels a cold presence following her wherever she goes. Despite her fear, she continues to investigate, hoping to uncover the truth. One night, as Sarah is exploring the ship's lower decks, she hears a voice calling her name. She follows the voice to a dark and eerie corner of the ship, where she discovers a hidden room that she had never seen before. Inside the room, She finds a collection of old documents and photographs detailing the ship's past and the people who once lived and worked on board. As she studies the documents, she realizes that there is more to the Queen Mary's haunting than anyone had ever suspected. Sarah spends months researching the documents and piecing together the ship's dark history. In the end, she uncovers a shocking truth about the ship's past and the events that led to the haunting. Her discoveries change the way that people view the Queen Mary and its haunted history forever. As Sarah continues her investigation, she begins to experience more frequent and intense paranormal activity on the ship. The spirits seem to be aware of her presence and are becoming increasingly agitated by her presence. One night, while she is sleeping in her cabin, Sarah is awoken by a loud banging on the door. When she opens the door, she finds no one there, but she hears the sound of footsteps retreating down the hallway. She follows the sound, but when she turns the corner, she comes face to face with a ghostly apparition. The apparition is that of a young woman, with long hair and a white gown. She appears to be the same woman who has been haunting the ship for years. Sarah tries to communicate with her, but the spirit only stares at her with empty eyes before vanishing into thin air. From that moment on, Sarah's experiences become more intense and terrifying. She begins to see the ghostly apparitions of the ship's former crew and passengers more frequently, and she is even physically touched by the spirits. Despite her fear, Sarah remains determined to uncover the truth about the ship's haunting. She spends countless hours researching and investigating, until one day she finally discovers a way to put the spirits to rest. With the help of a team of paranormal experts, Sarah performs a series of cleansing rituals and ceremonies on the ship, purging it of its negative energy and releasing the spirits from their earthly bonds. Finally, the Queen Mary is free from its haunted past, and Sarah can leave the ship knowing that she has finally put its dark history to rest. As Sarah prepares to leave the Queen Mary for the final time, she can't help but feel a sense of sadness and loss. She has spent so much time on the ship and has come to feel a connection to the spirits who haunt its halls. As she walks down the gangway, Sarah turns back to look at the ship one last time. To her surprise, she sees the ghostly figure of the young woman who has been haunting the ship for years. The spirit smiles at her and then disappears into the mist. Sarah realizes that the spirits are not angry or vengeful, but are simply lost and searching for a way to move on. She feels a sense of closure knowing that she was able to help them find peace, and that the ship can now move forward into a new era. As she drives away from the Queen Mary, Sarah reflects on her experience and realizes that she has found her true calling. She decides to continue her work as a paranormal investigator, helping other haunted locations find the peace they so desperately need. In the end, Sarah knows that the Queen Mary will always hold a special place in her heart. She will never forget the spirits that she encountered there, and she will always be grateful for the lessons they taught her about life, death, and the power of the unknown.